Happy Tuesday. How you doing? I hope you had an amazing weekend. I was teaching HIIT this morning and I was watching one of my clients work out, and I noticed that she had a little bit of a pelvic tilt, which is a very common pattern compensation that I see in a lot of women. Okay, so a lot of women have this pelvic tilt. We were doing this virtual HIIT workout. I noticed that she had one. So at the end of the workout, I was like, hey, do you mind if I make a suggestion? So her and I talked about what the pelvic tilt is, what's causing it, and how she can fix it. And that's why I freaking love the way that I do my virtual workouts, because I really do love like connecting with my clients and actually doing the coaching part instead of just like doing a workout and collecting passive income. I love the actual coaching part. But anyway, I'm going to show you the two types of pelvic tilts and how to identify if you have a pelvic tilt, because I see this in a lot of women. So if you have one, it can contribute to back pain, but it can also affect your workouts, right? It can give you a little bit higher risk for injury if you're working out with a pelvic tilt and not doing anything to fix it. So I'm going to show you how to identify it. We'll go over what it is and what you need to do to fix it. And then what I'm going to do is inside of my Facebook group, I'll do a separate video showing you the proper way to do like the how-to to fix it. So hopefully that makes sense. So the first thing is what is a pelvic tilt and how do you identify if you have one? So do you guys like my house dress? We have a pelvic, our pelvis is here, right? So a pelvic tilt is one of two things. It's either an anterior pelvic tilt where you're forward, okay, or a posterior pelvic tilt where it's backward. So most women that I see have an anterior pelvic tilt. So that means that if your hips are a bowl of water, right, it's spilling forward. So that means our booty is popped out, and I'm being dramatic here in how it looks, but your booty is being popped out, your low back is being overarched, and your belly, okay, the low abs are now disengaged, and it can create a little bit of like the pooch. Okay, so this can actually contribute to that belly, that stubborn belly pooch, okay, because it's lengthened. So we're here in this anterior pelvic tilt, okay, we're not getting proper core engagement, we're overarched in the low back. So when you're working out, that can create a little bit of a problem, because if you're lifting super heavy on an overarched low back or doing any kind of advanced movement, really honestly the basic movements, right, with an overarched low back, it's going to put a lot of pressure and it's going to increase your risk for injury. Okay, so you want to be very careful of working out that overarched low back. This is why it's super important to always start with the basics when you're going into a workout program. You need to find your stability, right? You need to figure out what your pattern compensations are. You need to work on those first and get your body nice and solid and stable before going on to the super sexy, you know, P90X Insanity Instagram workout, okay? So most of us women are in an anterior pelvic tilt. So you can identify that. Find the bony part of your hip in the front. Okay, make sure you're standing upright. Give yourself a little shake out. You want to be neutral, okay? So you're touching the bony part of your hip in the front with one hand. And then take your hand. You can actually do this if you can reach around your hip with both. You're going to find the bony part of the back of your hip. Okay, so you can see with me, I know I have a pelvic tilt, right? I also had a spinal fusion, which is right above my hips, which changed the angle of my hips. So I'm a little bit different, but you can find the bony part of both of your hips. They're not even, right? The front is lower. So that means I have that anterior pelvic tilt, right? If your backhand is lower than your front, that means you have a posterior pelvic tilt, okay? The idea is we want them to be as even as possible so that that bowl of water is not spilling each direction, right? So what's happening is when we're in this anterior pelvic tilt, the quad is overactive and pulling, right, on that hip to come forward because it's shortened. Okay, and when the quad becomes shortened and is pulling the hip forward, now the hamstring is lengthened and it's underactive. Okay, so the hamstring is not properly supporting the hip in the back, and that's where our muscular imbalance comes in, and that's where the pelvic tilt comes in, because those muscles are not balanced. Okay, that's what any pattern compensation is. It's a muscular imbalance. One muscle is overactive and one muscle is underactive. In this situation, we have overactive in the front, underactive in the back. So Hi, Lisa. So what we can do to fix this pelvic tilt, okay, so that you can get the most out of your workouts, so you can properly engage your core, so that we can decrease your risk of injury and take that over curvature out of the low back, okay, what we can do is release the quads and strengthen the hamstrings. This is if you have an anterior pelvic tilt, okay? If you have a posterior pelvic tilt, it's the opposite. You don't want to strengthen your hamstrings because they're already too tight and your quads are too weak, okay? Or not weak, but underactive, okay? Bad choice of words. So you want to make sure that you have, identify the right pelvic tilt if you have one at all, and then do the exercises accordingly. Okay, so if you have an anterior pelvic tilt where your pelvis is tilted forward, you want to release those quads and get them to become a little less active. We don't want them to become underactive, but we want to release them a little bit. And then you want to strengthen the hamstrings so that now that the hamstrings are strengthening, they can start to pull those hips back to where they should be. Okay, pulling your pelvis back to the angle that it should be at. Okay, of course, if you, I have a spinal fusion, I have a metal cage in my back, it changes the angle of my hips, okay, and I might not be able to do a whole lot about it. So if you have some kind of extenuating crazy circumstance like that, then you might not be able to necessarily fix it, but we can decrease the severity of it, and we can decrease the risk of injury. So I hope this was helpful. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions at all. This is seriously why I love what I do, right? Because being able to see my clients two-way on Zoom, I can pick up on these pattern compensations and I can help them be the most effective in their workouts. You are not getting this level of coaching on your YouTube workout video, on your Facebook Live workout video, on that $10 app, on your Beachbody Live. They can't give you this level of attention and support and coaching. It's just not the way their business is built, right? But it's the way my business is built. So if you need any help, seriously reach out, let me know. I will be more than happy to help you. If you have any questions about pelvic tilt workouts in general, whatever. So I love you. I hope you're having an what is that? I hope you're having an amazing Tuesday. I'll talk to you soon.